Hello everybody and welcome back to another My Porch Prints tutorials. This is Kyra and today I'm going to be showing you how to take just sort of regular junk mail envelopes that you might get mailed to you or pick up to mail to somebody else, maybe a bill or something like that, and turning them into something beautiful using one of our journal kits, the My Craft Room journal kit, and masking tape. So that's kind of going to be the base for what I'm doing today. I will have links to everything used down in the description box if you're interested, but mainly we're just going to have some fun and decorate. You can use any journal kit you want. Masking tape is going to be an essential part of this, so make sure that you grab some of that. And let's go ahead and kind of get started here. So to begin, I'm going to just show you kind of how you can use an envelope in a junk journal. So you might want to use it as something called a tip-in or a flip, and you just kind of use it around a journal page and it flips in and out of the journal. You can also trim these down and make them into some sort of a belly band if that's something you'd like to hold ephemera into your journal, or you can cut them into smaller pieces and make pockets and tuck spots to tuck ephemera into, and you can layer them over one another, and it's just kind of a fun way to decorate. Alright, so before we actually put them into our journal, we need to decorate them. So I'm starting with this one here, and to begin, I actually want to cover up the inside sort of pattern inside of this envelope. I just didn't like it, so I'm gonna grab one of the papers from the kit, and I'm just gonna tear a portion of it that is large enough to kind of hide the space inside the little, plastic window on this envelope. So I'm just gonna tear a chunk off, add some glue on the back, and glue it inside the envelope, just like this. And now when you put things in and take things out of your envelope, you'll have something pretty on the background. Alright, and now for the masking tape. So for this part, I'm just going to be taking strips of masking tape and taping them over the top of the envelope. And this is going to help hide maybe any print that may already be on the envelope, and also kind of give it an old, yellow, layered, junky sort of feel. So I'm going to just continue to take various strips, layering them over one another, wrapping them kind of around the edges like this. And it's okay to do them at different angles, so like I'm covering up the corners with a strip that's kind of like diagonal here like this, just kind of going around the plastic window, covering up any white that I see. And you can choose to cover both the front and the back, or just the front if you're going to be gluing this into a journal or something. Anyway, it's kind of up to you. This one I decided to go ahead and do both the front and back and kind of leave it as sort of a added ephemera piece for the journal in the future. Alright, so go ahead, cover up any white just like this, and try not to accidentally tape it shut. If you do, you can always use scissors or a knife to open it back up. And now I'm going to go in with some Distress ink in the color Vintage Photo, and I'm just going to go around the edges. Now, masking tape does not take ink as heavily as paper. It tends to kind of have a lighter look to it and blend really easily, and might rub off a little bit if you don't give it time to dry. So make sure to go in with a pretty heavy hand and don't touch it too much as it's drying. And if you want it to have a darker edge, you can leave some of the white exposed, the edge of your tape, and that'll kind of take more of the ink and give it sort of a darker, almost burnt look. If that's something you like, you can certainly do that. And for around the window, I'm just taking the very edge of my little sponge applicator here and just kind of lightly brushing it. Usually this wouldn't work too well on paper, but because this smears and blends really well, it actually looks perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do that and give it a little bit of a darker edge. Alright, and for decorating, I'm going to begin with some ribbon and a bow. Of course, you can do anything you want, anything you have on hand. I'm going to grab like this little stamp sticker from one of our kits. Again, I'll link that down below. We just printed them on sticker paper. And then I'm going over it with a stamp that I have. I think we picked this up on Amazon just to decorate it a little bit more. And on the other side, again, going in with some more of that lacy ribbon, as well as some scraps that I just tore strips of and layered them one on top of the other, just to kind of, give it a little more decoration, add some layering, make it more interesting. And then grabbing a page tab from that same kit that I'm using my papers from, just going to add that to the top left corner. This little ephemera piece is from a separate kit. Again, I will link that down below. I'm just grabbing something that fits here and looks nice. And then I have some roses, some fussy cut roses from our shop that I printed on sticker paper. So I'm just going to cut one of those out and stick that down in the corner here, just kind of overlapping with the see-through window. And it's important to note, if you use stickers or washi tape or anything like that, they don't like to stick to the masking tape, so you will need to use some glue to make sure things stay. So anything that you're sticking to the masking tape, glue is recommended. Alright, and here is what that envelope looks like once it's done. Again, you could make tuck spots or a belly band or something like that, but this is kind of what it looks like in a journal. And for my second envelope here, this one has been cut almost in half, and I'm just going to cover the top of it with masking tape. And then for the bottom half, I'm actually going to take one of the papers from my kit, and I'm just going to kind of trace an outline of the bottom of my envelope, cut that out, and tear off the top portion of it here just to kind of give it a rough edge. And I wanted to use this scrap, so I'm going to go ahead and glue it to the top of my little envelope pocket here. And for this one, I'm only decorating the front. You can decorate the back if you want. I'm just going to skip that for now. And with that decorative rectangle we cut out, I'm adding glue to the sides and the bottom, and that's going to make a little tuck space on the front of our pocket. And of course, going over everything with some distress ink. And I have this journal word. This isn't from this kit. I pulled it from the scrap box, but any journal word will do. And I'm going to give it a little frame by going over some masking tape with my distress ink, just to give it a bit of contrast here. And then taking some cheesecloth, I'm going to glue that to the back of the journal word and glue everything down to that little piece of tape. This tape, I'm actually going to move it in a little bit, so I didn't glue it down. But before I do that, I'm again adding one of those page tabs to the top of the pocket, just like this. And then I'm going to peel up that little piece of tape here and move it down, because I realized I'm going to end up covering it if I leave it there. So I'm just moving it around, which isn't too hard to do. Again, I didn't use glue. If you want things to really stick to your masking tape, you need to glue them down. So just keep that in mind. But I'm glad I didn't glue this one down because I'm moving it into the corner. And that way I can go ahead and fill up my pocket with some little ephemera pieces. These are from the kit, I think, except for the butterfly, which is from its own kit. Again, I will link that down below. And then I have this little card from my scrap box, and then some of the tags and things from the kit that can go inside of the little envelope here. And now we have a cute little layered pocket made out of an old envelope, and it can just glue down to your page like this. So another great way of just getting rid of old envelope materials. You can hardly even tell that this pocket was an envelope, but they kind of go together with some of the other pieces we're making and match really nicely and kind of add a cute shabbiness to your junk journal. So let's go ahead and do one more. So I have the other half of that envelope here, and again we're going to go over it with masking tape. Again, just covering up the front. And this one had a flap that folds up like this, and I kind of like the shape of that, so I'm actually going to leave it. And I also left the whites on the edges of my pocket here, and that way when we stain it with distress ink, it comes out a little bit darker. I just kind of wanted to see how that looked. But for the top little folding flap here, I'm just going to trace the outline of it on a sheet of paper, decorative paper, glue it down to the top, and then kind of hide the edge, that harsh edge, with a bit of masking tape. And then I'm going to cut a similar piece of paper and put it inside so that it kind of matches that top little envelope flap here. Kind of brings a cohesiveness to it. And then of course going over everything with my distress ink, all of the edges and creases and things like that. And it did have a bit of a darker look on the white that I left behind, so I actually kind of thought it made it look a little bit older and more vintage, and I actually liked that a lot. So I'm going to continue with the distress ink over some stamp stickers and another page tab here and another piece of tape, again just kind of gluing things down, adding layers, making things look a little more junky and old. Going to take a little bit of ribbon along the side, as well as some of these fabric flowers. You could use fussy cut flowers if you don't have fabric flowers. I just had these laying nearby and thought they were kind of cute and added some dimension. And then I'm going to finish it with a little sticker of a butterfly in the corner here. Just go ahead and glue that down, just like that. And because this is cut on the side and the top, it leaves more room for larger ephemera pieces and a little bit more layering. So you can put things that kind of stick out the side like this, or stick out the back. And you can also add glue along the back of the envelope and make kind of a third tuck space way in the back of the envelope on the page. So you could get a lot of ephemera in here with just one envelope. Alright, so that is going to finish up today's junk journal tutorial video. I hope you had some fun creating some of these masking tape envelopes with me, got some new inspiration. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye!